Hello friends, today I am going to reveal you some true facts about the Bhagavad Gita. But first of all, I request you to please share and subscribe my channel for getting my informative true facts videos uninterrupted. Now, come to the subject. The setting of the Gita. The setting of the Gita is symbolic of the battlefield of life. But more importantly, it is symbolic of the battlefield within all of us. Our life is a constant turmoil between positive and negative impulses, between the pleasant and the better, between our likes and dislikes, between the good and the bad. Even though the Gita is the record of a dialogue centuries ago, it is relevant to any age since it addresses fundamental questions that arise in the human heart. Through the vista of epiculture, we are able to hear and see the sacred dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna's despondency is our despondency. His questions are our questions. As we read the Gita, it is as if we are in direct communication with the great sage embodied in the personality of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. The synopsis of the last lecture. In our last lecture, we saw Krishna's immediate response to the despondency of Arjuna on the battlefield. He told him to snap out of it. This is not the behavior of a great warrior. This is my synopsis of my earlier videos. If the depression is mild, such words of encouragement have the desired effect. In this case, the problem is deeper since it is existential in nature. So Krishna resorts to the highest teachings he can give, namely the essence of the Upanishads, the teaching of the immortality of the Supreme Self. Life and death are part of the cosmic process, but the Self is indestructible and immortal. It is not slain when the body is slain. What is the effect of this teaching? This is the main question. Even this teaching does not seem to have any effect. So Krishna makes a plea from a worldly perspective. If you abandon your work, people will forever recount your abandonment, and living such a life is worse than death. Therefore stand up and fight. This still does not energize Arjuna to go into battle. So now begins Krishna's brilliant discourse and a synthesis of the four yogas. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is one of the brilliant new contributions of the Bhagavad Gita. It is not found in the Upanishads explicitly. It is good to begin with Vivekananda's explanation of the meaning of Karma Yoga. The word karma is derived from the Sanskrit kri, meaning to do. All action is karma. Technically, the word also means the effects of actions. In connection to metaphysics, it sometimes means the effect of which our past actions were the causes. But in karma, yoga, karma, we have simply to do with the word karma as a meaning work. Thus, we all doing karma all the time. I am talking to you, that is karma. You are listening, that is karma. We breathe, that is karma. Everything we do, physical or mental, is karma, and it leaves its marks on us. We are responsible for what we are and whatever we wish ourselves to be. We have the power to make ourselves. If what we are now has been the result of our own past actions, it certainly follows that whatever we wish to be in the future can be produced by our present actions. So we have to know how to act. There is such a thing as filtering away our energies. With regard to Karma Yoga, the Gita says that it is doing work with cleverness and as a science. By knowing how to work, one can obtain the greatest results. Krishna begins. In the path of Karma Yoga, no effect is ever lost and no obstacle prevails. Even a little practice of this yoga saves one from great fear. The resolute understanding is single. The thoughts of the irresolute are many branched and endless. Firmly fix the thought on the Supreme Self and relinquish all selfish desire. To action alone, you have the right, but not to the fruits of action. Don't let the fruits of action be your motive. Neither should you be attached to the inaction. Fixed this yoga, do your work, abandoning attachment and being even-minded in both successes and failure. Awareness of mind is called yoga. Yoga Shavatvam Euclides. The first step of Karma Yoga. The first step of Karma Yoga is to fix the thought on the realization of the Supreme Self. The teaching of the Upanishads is made, the foundation on the yoga is built. The foundation of Karma Yoga is the yoga of knowledge or Jnana Yoga. The second step is to act but not with a selfish motive. If we examine our life, we find it is full of self-interest. How can we work if we are not motivated by self-interest? Does this mean we should abandon work? Krishna emphatically says no. You should not resort to inaction either. The ideal is to work with an awareness of mind. In both success and failure, is this possible? Vivekananda gives a personal view. Vivekananda says, I have been asked many times how we can work if we do not have the passion which we generally feel for work. I also thought in that way years ago, but as I am growing older, getting more experience, I find it is not true. The less passion there is, the better we work. The calmer we are, the better of us, and the more amount of work we can do. When we let loose our feelings, we waste so much energy, so shatter our nerves, disturb our minds, and accomplish very little work. The energy which ought to have gone out to work is spent as mere feeling which counts for nothing. It is only when the mind is very calm and collected that the whole of its energy is spent in doing good work. The man who gives way to anger or hatred or any other passion cannot work. He only breaks himself to pieces and does nothing practical. It is the calm, forgiving, equable, well-balanced mind that does the greatest amount of work. Krishna continues. Krishna says, action should be guided by intelligence, not by self-interest. One who has joined himself to buddhi or mind reasons and work, it is said to be skillful in action. Yoga is said to be this skill in action. In these verses, Krishna outlines his theory of work and gives two definitions of yoga. The first is awareness of mind and the second is skill in action. Both of these attitudes have to be combined to gain a proper understanding of this philosophy of work. At the same time, we must not be attached to the fruits of our work. Arjuna asked for a description of the perfect sage. The very question of Arjuna is an indication that his mind has been engaged and he is slowly coming out of his despondency. Krishna answers, when all the desires of the mind are put away and the spirit is content in itself, the sage is said to be of subtle intelligence. He is untroubled in the midst of sorrow and is free from eager desire amid pleasures. He from whom passion, fear and rage have passed away is called one of the subtle intelligence. He who draw away the senses from the objects of sense as a tortoise drawing its limbs into the cell. His intelligence is said to be firmly set. How does attachment arise? This is the question. The objects of sense turn away when one abstains from feeling of them on them. The taste of them, however, remains and only disappears when the Atma is realized. The senses are impetuous and can carry away the mind by force if one is not careful. By thinking about sense objects, attachment of them is formed. From attachment arises a desire to possess them. When this is not gratified, angers come. From angers come confusion. From confusion, loss of memory. From loss of memory, the destruction of intelligence. From the destruction of intelligence, one perishes. The psychology of anger. Modern psychoanalysis has revealed that anger is a manifestation of repressed and suppressed desires. Modern medicine has also established the damage to internal physiology caused by excessive anger. In the fit of an anger, we are confused and issues that we have no bearing on the circumstances are brought only to add further confusion. In such a confusion, we forget many things. The purpose of life, our responsibilities, our goals, and most importantly, peaceful coexistence with fellow human beings. Psychology and literature. Literature is replete with examples of this one psychological phenomenon. How selfish desire can possess the mind and lead into annihilation. This is the fundamental theme of human life. The question of moral choice in all issues and circumstances, but the moral choice must be guided by intelligence. Moral choice must be guided by intelligence. Morality for its own sake is too weak to stand on its own. One must have a larger perspective with which to view things, and this perspective provided by intelligence or in mind reasons, that is buddhi. Krishna continues, but one who is disciplined mind, who moves among objects of sense with the sense under control, free from attachment or aversions, such a one attains the purity of spirit. For the uncontrolled, however, there is no intelligence, nor in there the power of concentration. Without concentration of mind, there is no peace. For the restless mind, how can there be happiness? When the mind runs after the moving, when the mind runs after the roving senses, it carries away all understandings, just as the wind carries away a ship on the waters. What is night for all things? In the time of wakefulness for the seas, what is the time of wakefulness for all beings is a night for the seas. The meanings of the last part of the indication of priorities, when the world is dazzled by the glitters of sense objects, the sage is focused on understanding quality and touching the very substance of the phenomenon of life. Thus the mind of the sage is asleep to what the world is awake to. Similarly, the world is asleep to what the sage is awake to. Some psychoanalytic insight. Krishna says, the sage does not hug desires when they arise, nor does he agitate the mind to create them. He is indifferent to them as waters enter the sea. Though even being filled is ever motionless, so is the mind of the sage with respect to desires. From the spiritual perspective, Krishna sees desires as part of the psychobiological process. Arjuna intervenes and asks, if you think the path of understanding, Jnana Yoga, is better than the path of action, Karma Yoga, then why do you urge me to fight? I think you have only confused me by this teaching. Tell me for certain which path I should follow. The theory of work, Krishna explained. Krishna now begins his outline of the theory of work. Many contemporary thinkers, such as Mahatma Gandhi, considers to be the major contributions of the Bhagavad Gita to philosophical thought. To Arjuna questions, Krishna replies, one may lead a life of contemplation or a life of action, both properly done, lead on to enlightenment. But one must understand that freedom from work is not gained by abstaining from work. By mere renunciation of work, you do not attain perfection. It is impossible to maintain even one's life without doing some work. One who restrains the organs of action but continues to brood over sense objects is said to be hypocrite, and one brings misery and delusions to oneself. But he who controls the senses by the mind and engages the organs of action in the path of work is superior. This verse is Krishna's brilliant fusion of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Vivekananda expands, in order to refrain from falling into error, one is tempted to refrain from action altogether. But this is definitely not the way. Vivekananda writes in his inimitable humorous way, the cow never tells a lie and the stone never steals. But nevertheless, the cow remains a cow and the stone a stone. Man steals and man tells lies. And again, it is man that becomes so good. Do thou the allotted work. Krishna instructs for action is better than inaction. Even to maintain physical health, one must be active but learn to work free from attachment. This world is an independent world. All creatures support each other through mutual cooperation. Join your mind to a higher cause that enables the welfare of all. It is in this way that the great ones of the past have attained perfection through work alone. Whatever a great person does, others follow. Whatever standards is set by such a one, the world rises to that standard. Look at me, Arjuna, Krishna says. There is not for me my personal gain from the work I do. Yet I continue to work. If I did not engage in work unwittingly, people would follow my example, and the world will fall into ruins. Just as the ignorant act from attachment to work, so should we learn act. But without any attachment and with a desire for the welfare of the world, the enlightened person acts in a spirit of yoga and thus sets others to act as well. The main message of the Gita. Often we are tempted to run away from our difficulties and take up a life of the recluse of exclusive meditation. This is not an option recommended by Krishna. Few people have the capacity for certain concentration, and so most of the people who choose the meditative life waste a lot of time in idleness. The classic adage, and idle mind is the devil's workshop. More or less summarize the dangers of such an option. The ideal is to join the mind to a wider vision, a worthy cause that explore the welfare of all, and then to engage the mind and the body in work towards that ideal. This does not mean we must abandon our present work and take up something that are being certified as a social service by the world at large. Do thou the allotted works, enjoins Krishna. Repressing or suppressing the desires is not desirable. For then, these energies only become subconscious to manifest later in all their fury. The energies and passions must be given higher directions as they have indicated in the yoga of work. Better is thought and actions consonant with one's own abilities and aptitude than that which is not. Even though this may not be done perfectly, it is better because acting contrary to one's psychological disposition often leads to fear. Thus, we see that we must take our own abilities and give them higher direction. For this, we need not go anywhere. It is our own view that must be adjusted and enlarged. What is action? What is action? What is inaction? And what is not action? Even the wise are confused on these points, says Krishna. He who sees action in inaction, he who sees action in action and inaction in action, he is the yogi. For one whose actions are free from selfish desire, every work culminates in wisdom. Such an individual holds his life as an offering, a sacrifice to be higher idol. Knowledge as a sacrifice is greater than any material sacrifice. Since all works without exception culminate in wisdom, learned that by humble references, by inquiry, by concentration, and by service. Mere physical action is not action, according to Krishna. Real action is the process by which we refine wisdom from the crude ore of experience. One may be silent, reflective and outwardly performing no action, but inwardly, through introspection, one is gaining insight and wisdom. So this is true action. All experiences, goods and bad, can be used to reach wisdom. The process by which this is done is fourfold. By humble reference, by inquiry, by concentration, and by service. This is the fourfold yoga, joining the paths of devotion, that is bhakti, of knowledge, that is jnana, of psychic control, that is raj, and of work, that is karma. The practice of concentration. To practice concentration of mind, one must engage the will. What exactly is will? Will is love converted into power. The same mechanism that leads one to downfall can also be used to reach the level of awareness. The mind should be fixed on the desire to realize the Brahma. As a lamp as a lamp in a windless place does not flicker, so also in the mind fixed on the Supreme Self that is not disturbed by selfish desire. Let the yogi gain tranquility of mind. Little by means of reason controlled by steadiness and having fixed the mind on the self. Let me not think of anything else. Whenever the mind wanders, let him restrain and bring the mind to the focus of concentration. Arjuna intervenes with a basic question. This control of mind that you describe is very hard indeed. It is a difficult trying to control the storm, says Arjuna. Yes, agrees Krishna. But it can be done with a steady practice. Wonderful things can be accomplished through a steady practice. It becomes easier if we constantly remind ourselves of the goal to be attained. Thinking of that, directing one's whole conscious being to, that making that the whole aim, with that as the sole object of devotion, the reach that supreme state. Even here on earth, the world of duality in transcend by one whose mind is established in tranquility. As the discourse continues, one can see Krishna's mind ascending in awareness. His speech begins to reveal that he is now teaching from the levels of universal awareness as taught by the Upanishads. I am the taste in the waters. I am the light in the moon and the sun. I am the sable on. I am the fragrance in the earth and the brightness of fire. I am the life in all existence. I am the origin of life, or origin of all. From me the whole creation proceeds. Knowing this, the wise worship me with their thoughts fixed on me. As Krishna mind ascends to a higher level of awareness, Arjuna asks if he too can have such an awareness. He asks, if you think it can be seen, then please reveal it to me. The cosmic form. Krishna says, it cannot be seen by the human eye. I will give you the divine eye by which you can see. In the 11th chapter of the Gita, the Vishwarupa on the cosmic form of Krishna is described. Arjuna is at first frightened. Frightened. The poet writes, if 1,000 suns were to rise simultaneously in the morning sky, that might resemble the splendor of that vision. Arjuna's song of praise. I behold thee, sings Arjuna, infinite in form on all sides. I do not see the end, the middle, nor the beginning. I see many things. The entire space is provided by thee alone. I see sons of Dhritarashtra rushing towards destruction, as moths rush swiftly into the blazing fire to perish there. So do these men rush into their own destruction. I have seen that what was never seen before, and my heart is shaken with fear. Please show me your compassionate form. Here is some amplifications on this scene. The conscious elements of the mind is birthless and deathless. The permanent element of the mind consciousness is nothing but the cosmic mind. It from a moment we can identify ourselves with this consciousness. We shall know ourselves to be infinite. I find that the whole universe is in me. Swami Vivekananda says, seeing God everywhere. The compassionate form. Then Krishna said, this universal form is very hard to see, and you have seen it. Others too can, through answering devotions to the Supreme, attain the same state of awareness. In the practice of devotion, it is difficult for the mind to focus on the abstract idea which is beyond manifestation, beyond thoughts which is changeless, immobile and constant. This is quite difficult for embodied beings. But those who worship me, meditating on me with unanswering devotions, also attain to a higher level of awareness. The essential thing is to give us selfish desire and be dedicated to the welfare of all beings. Real devotion is to not have any ill will towards any beings, to be free from egotism, to be even minded in pleasure and pain. This is the yoga of devotion, that is bhakti yoga. The yoga of devotion, this can be said to be the second main contribution of the Gita in the world philosophical thought. In these verses, Krishna assimilated in a mastery way our dualistic beings with the non-dualistic framework. I will give you the detail in my next lecture, in my next video. Now, thanks.